The graduation party was in full swing when my brother-in-law decided to make his move. Tables filled the backyard, white tablecloths catching the afternoon sun, while relatives I barely recognized helped themselves to the catered buffet. My son stood near the gift table, still wearing his cap and gown, accepting congratulations from aunts and uncles who had barely acknowledged his existence throughout high school. Marcus approached with that familiar smirk I'd learned to ignore over the years. My sister followed 2 steps behind, her expression already apologetic in that way that told me she knew what was coming but wouldn't stop it. "Congratulations, graduate," Marcus announced loudly enough for nearby tables to hear. He pulled something from his jacket pocket with theatrical flair. "I got you something special." My son's face lit up with genuine hope. At 18 he still wanted to believe the best in people, even people who had spent years proving they didn't deserve it. Marcus held out his closed fist, building the suspense. Relatives turned to watch. My mother set down her plate. Even the caterers paused their work. He opened his hand to reveal a plain yellow pencil, the kind you'd find in a box of 50 at any office supply store. Not even sharpened. "Here's a pencil. That's all you'll ever need," Marcus said, his voice dripping with false cheer. "Community college doesn't require much, right? Save your money for something important." The laughter started at Marcus's table and spread like wildfire. My uncle slapped his knee. My cousin nearly choked on her wine. My mother pressed her napkin to her mouth, but her shoulders shook with suppressed giggles. My son took the pencil, his smile frozen in place. I watched his fingers close around it, knuckles white. "Thank you," he managed, his voice barely audible. "What was that?" Marcus cupped his ear mockingly. "Speak up, community college boy." More laughter. Someone actually applauded. I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket. The timing was so perfect it almost felt scripted. I pulled it out and glanced at the screen. The message was from Patricia, my assistant at the firm. "Board meeting in 30 minutes. They need your approval on the Henderson loan extension. Marcus Henderson. 72 hours until default if not approved today." I looked up from my phone. Marcus was still basking in the attention, accepting congratulations from my uncle for his hilarious gift. My sister touched his arm, whispering something, but he shrugged her off. My son had moved away from the gift table, the pencil still clutched in his hand. He wasn't crying. That would come later, probably in his room where no one could see. He'd learned early that showing emotion in this family only gave them more ammunition. I walked toward Marcus slowly, my phone still in my hand. The laughter died down as people noticed my approach. My sister's face went pale. "That was quite a gift," I said, keeping my voice level. Marcus grinned wider. "Just being practical. No point spending money on fancy presents for a kid going to community college. Save that for the real achievers, right?" "Right," I agreed. Speaking of money and being practical. I held up my phone, making sure he could see the screen. His eyes flicked down, then back to my face. I watched the confusion settle in. "Your loan extension," I said quietly. "The board meeting is in 25 minutes now. They need my approval." The blood drained from his face so quickly I almost felt sorry for him. "Almost." "You're bluffing," he said, but his voice had lost its certainty. I pulled up my email and turned the phone toward him. The message chain was clear. Marcus Henderson, Henderson Commercial Properties, $70 million development loan. Default imminent without extension approval. Board awaiting decision from the Director of Commercial Lending. My sister grabbed his arm. "Marcus, please don't do this." But I wasn't doing anything. "Not yet." "I don't understand," my mother said, her voice cutting through the silence that had fallen over the party. "What's happening?" "Marcus applied for a loan extension 6 months ago," I explained, still looking at my brother-in-law. "His commercial development project ran into some complications. Cost overruns, contractor issues. The usual problems that happen when someone tries to build an empire without proper planning." Marcus's jaw clenched. "This is a family gathering. We can discuss business later." "You brought business to the party," I pointed out. "That pencil was your way of reminding everyone that my son isn't worth investing in. I thought we could discuss investments while we're on the topic." "I was joking," he said quickly. "It was just a joke." "Jokes are funny," my son said quietly from behind me. Everyone turned to look at him. "That wasn't funny." Pride swelled in my chest. He was finding his voice. Marcus tried to recover. Look, I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings, but this is ridiculous. You can't hold a business loan hostage over a graduation gift. I'm not holding anything hostage, I said. I'm simply deciding whether to recommend approval to the board. It's what I do every day. Evaluate risk, assess character, determine if someone is worth the investment. My sister stepped between us. Please. He didn't mean it. You know how he is. He jokes around. It's just his way. His way has been to belittle my son for 4 years, I said. Every family dinner, every holiday, every achievement. When my son made the honor roll, Marcus asked if they gave out participation trophies for showing up. When he won the science fair, Marcus said playing with baking soda volcanoes wasn't real science. When he got accepted to college, any college, Marcus made sure everyone knew it wasn't good enough. The backyard had gone completely silent. Even the caterers had stopped moving. I didn't know, my mother whispered. You laughed, I reminded her gently. Every time. All of you laughed. My uncle had the grace to look ashamed. My cousin suddenly found her wine glass fascinating. Marcus's phone rang. He pulled it out with shaking hands, looked at the caller ID and went even paler. That's probably your business partner, I said. Robert called me this morning. He's very concerned about the loan situation. He mentioned something about dissolving the partnership if the extension doesn't go through. Marcus answered the call, his voice tight. Not now, Robert. He listened for a moment. I said not now. He hung up and shoved the phone back into his pocket. The board is waiting, I said, checking my watch. 20 minutes now. What do you want? Marcus asked through gritted teeth. An apology? Fine. I'm sorry. I apologize for the pencil. I apologize for everything. Happy. Not to me, I said. To him. I pointed at my son, who stood there with that cheap yellow pencil still in his hand, looking smaller than he should on what was supposed to be his day. Marcus turned to face him. The smirk was completely gone now, replaced by something closer to panic. I apologize. The pencil was inappropriate. I shouldn't have mocked your college choice. My son looked at me, then back at Marcus. Why did you? What? Why did you spend 4 years making fun of everything I did? What did I ever do to you? Marcus opened his mouth, closed it, then opened it again. No answer came out. He's jealous, my sister said quietly. Everyone turned to stare at her. She looked at her husband with something like pity. He's been jealous since the beginning. When you started dating someone who actually graduated college. Someone with a career that didn't require family money to get started. Someone whose son might actually surpass him. That's not true, Marcus protested weakly. It's completely true, she said. I've watched you tear down a child for years because you were afraid of being overshadowed. I should have stopped it. I should have said something. He turned to me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I let it go on this long. My phone buzzed again. Patricia, 15 minutes. Board is assembled. Henderson file is ready for your review. I need to make a call, I said. Excuse me. I walked toward the house, my son following close behind. Behind us, I could hear the party dissolving into uncomfortable murmurs and awkward conversations. Inside, I sat at the kitchen table and pulled up the Henderson file on my phone. My son sat across from me, still holding that pencil. Are you really going to deny his loan? He asked. I'm going to make an honest assessment, I said. That's my job. Because of the pencil? Because of 4 years of systematic cruelty toward someone I love, I corrected. Because character matters when you're lending $70 million. Because someone who treats family that way might treat business partners, contractors, and clients the same way. Because risk assessment includes evaluating whether someone can be trusted. My son nodded slowly. What if he changes? Then he changes after facing consequences, I said. Real consequences, not just embarrassment at a party. But Aunt Sarah will be affected too. Smart kid. Always thinking about the bigger picture. Aunt Sarah married him knowing who he was, I said gently. She's made choices too. But I'll talk to her separately, make sure she's protected regardless of what happens with the business. He set the pencil on the table between us. I'm not going to community college. I know. I got accepted to Stanford. Full academic scholarship. I found out last week. My breath caught. What? I didn't tell anyone because I knew what would happen, he said. Uncle Marcus would find a way to make it about him, or tear it down, or make it seem like it wasn't real. So I just kept quiet. Pride and heartbreak warred in my chest. Pride that my son had accomplished something so remarkable, heartbreak that he'd felt the need to hide it from his own family. When were you going to tell me? Tonight, after everyone left. I wanted it to be just us. I pulled him into a hug, this brilliant boy who'd learned to protect his joy from people who should have celebrated it. My phone rang. Patricia's name flashed on the screen. The board, my son asked. I nodded and answered. Patricia. They're ready for you, Director. The conference line is open. Should I connect you? I looked at my son, at the pencil on the table, at the backyard visible through the window where my family sat in uncomfortable silence. Connect me, I said. The line clicked. 5 voices greeted me, the board members I'd worked with for 8 years. We have the Henderson file, the chairman said. $70 million extension request. Default imminent without approval. Your recommendation? I looked at the pencil again. Such a small thing. Such a devastating message. Denied, I said clearly. Risk assessment indicates poor character judgment and questionable decision-making patterns. I cannot recommend extension approval. Silence on the line, then. Noted. The board concurs with your assessment. Extension denied. Henderson Commercial Properties has 72 hours to cure default or face foreclosure proceedings. They disconnected. It was done. My son stared at me. You really did it. I really did. What happens now? Now. I picked up the pencil and snapped it in half. Now we celebrate your acceptance to Stanford properly. Just you and me. No one who'll try to make it small. We heard the back door open. Footsteps approached. My sister appeared in the kitchen doorway, mascara streaked down her face. He's outside crying, she said. Robert called again. The partnership is over. The business is done. Everything he built is gone. Everything he built on loans he couldn't repay, I corrected gently. Everything that was already failing. I just stopped pretending it wasn't. She nodded, wiping her eyes. I know. I've known for months. I just didn't want to face it. What will you do? I don't know. But I do know I'm sorry. For everything. For not protecting your son. For choosing my husband over my nephew. For laughing when I should have stood up. My son stood and hugged his aunt. She broke down completely, sobbing into his shoulder while he patted her back awkwardly. It's okay, he said. It's going to be okay. Always the bigger person. Always kinder than they deserved. Outside I heard car doors slamming. The party was breaking up early. Good. It was never really about celebration anyway. Just another opportunity for performance and judgment. My mother appeared at the door. I don't understand what just happened. Marcus gave your grandson a pencil and told him it was all he'd ever need, I said. I showed him what need actually looks like. She looked at the broken pencil on the table, at my son, at me. He got into Stanford? Full ride, my son confirmed. Her face crumpled. And we've been treating him like he was nothing. Not nothing, I corrected. Just not worth investing in, according to the people who should have loved him most. She left without another word. Through the window, I watched her gather her things and leave with my uncle, both of them looking decades older than they had an hour ago. My phone buzzed one final time. Patricia, Henderson default filed. Board meeting adjourned. Congratulations on another successful risk assessment. I deleted the message and turned off my phone. What now? My son asked. Now we order pizza, I said. And you tell me everything about Stanford. Every single detail. And I listen like I should have been listening all along, without waiting for permission from people who never deserved a vote. He smiled, really smiled for the first time all day. Can we get the good pizza? Not the cheap stuff. The best pizza, I promised. Because you deserve the best. Not a pencil. Not scraps. Not conditional love based on other people's insecurities. The absolute best. We ordered from the expensive place downtown. While we waited, he showed me his acceptance letter, his scholarship details, his dorm assignment. He talked about classes and professors and dreams he'd been afraid to voice. And I listened. Really listened. Making up for all the times I'd let other voices drown out what mattered most. The pizza arrived. We ate in the kitchen, just the two of us, while the sun set on the worst and best graduation party I'd ever attended. My son threw the broken pencil in the trash on his way to get plates. He'd need much more than that at Stanford. And thanks to